Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kara here with another Awaken KSA video, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down Valeria. This is one of the characters that you could choose out of your rookie summons, so I think a lot of people are going to have this character. And also, this is a very good one, too. One of the top tier nukers in this game, so I think good combination of popular plus good. So let's break this character down. So what this video is going to cover is what this character does, how to build this character, where to use this character, and then lastly, team synergies that would work well with Valeria here. Before we begin this video, if I could get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. And now let's get into the video. First thing is going to be, let's break down her kit. Starting with her trait here, reduces all ability cooldowns by 1 turn upon the death of an enemy. This is going to be great, especially in the beginning of the game. She is a rookie summon character, so being able to constantly have ability cooldowns reset like this, or at least lowered, is going to be super helpful, especially in the beginning of the game when you don't really have access to ability mats to be able to level up these characters. And then when you ascend her, grants attack up for 1 turn and reduces all ability cooldowns by 1 turn upon the death of an enemy. This is just great, especially with where you're going to be taking her. You're going to be nuking down waves. Be able to have a self way of giving attack up is nice. And then she has 100% damage to 2 enemies. It's kind of unique when it comes to her basic, as 100% damage to 2 enemies is not normal. Normally it's just 1 character, so kind of like a pseudo AoE there. With a 50% chance applying defense down, damage dealing character that's applying a debuff is not ideal. I'd prefer on my damage dealers a buff, but at the same time 50% is actually not terrible, and it is to 2 enemies too. So you have a pretty decent chance of this actually applying. Mainly you would just have to be another squishy character that doesn't have much resistance. And then her special here deals 100% damage to all enemies and recovers health equal to 35% damage. Having another AoE on the special when it comes to a nuke character is nice. A lot of people that nuke don't have that much AoE. They just have it just on their ultimate and it does a lot of damage, but their second follow-up move is usually a single target, like a hard-hitting single target. So it's nice to have another AoE here, and it's a way to restore her health. Not many of these characters have self-sustain. And then lastly, it consumes 20% of this character's current health and deals 180% damage to all enemies, grants a bonus turn upon the defeat of an enemy. And this is super clutch, especially with what she's trying to do. She's nuking down waves, so she's giving herself a bonus turn. She, with her passive, resetting the cooldowns here. I feel like this kit is really well put together in the sense that she is doing high amounts of AoE damage, but then the rest of her kit supports it by giving herself a bonus turn and reducing the cooldowns as well. So you're going to be able to do that a lot more often, or at least more often than the cooldowns would suggest here on a 4-turn cooldown and a 3-turn cooldown here, but that doesn't really matter too much. Then it doesn't matter too much because you're going to be resetting those abilities, and when she has to use her basic ability, at least you're hitting 2 enemies with the potential of resetting your cooldowns even further if you happen to kill one. So I like her a lot. She would be a candidate, in my opinion, of the double ascend here, or at least ascend 1, because it makes such a difference. I'll give you guys an example of just how much attack difference you get with that 50% on just 1 ascend for this character. But I think having the second ascension is actually pretty great if this is going to be one of the characters you really rely on for a lot of content, especially in the beginning of the game. But you know, it's a very valuable resource, and there is better options in my opinion. I'll probably do a video talking about specific characters I would prioritize for ascension, but she wouldn't be a bad target in my opinion. I just want to show you guys the difference on how big of an ascension effect makes. So see how I have 3,894 attack here. This is S tier attack, but no ascension. But then I put it on Evra here, and it's going to be a massive difference here in just how good this gear is, or just how much attack I have, I should say. So here, I just want to quickly do this because I think this is really important to just kind of show just how impactful this is. Same gear all the way around. Now it's 4,200 for Evra, that same gear. So see if I tried to change this, all the same gear, but it's a 400 attack difference just for that 1 ascension. So now that we get an idea of what her kit is, let's talk about build choices. So this is a build that I would probably use. There's not really that many options when it comes to using her. She has a lot of AoE, and so it's kind of a no-brainer to use an average set. So 50% extra damage to all AoE effects. That's pretty much going to be the go-to move here when it comes to this. So average set's probably going to be the way to go when it comes to this character. But there's a couple options that you could use when it comes to the 2 pieces. So the 2-piece sets, you got Warrior and Raider pretty much are the only options here. And then I guess you could go Guard too, but I don't really think that's worth it too much. It would be very niche content that would actually rely on the Guard set when it comes to her. So 2-piece wise, you're really coming down to Warrior and Raider set here. If you're looking for more speed, because in the beginning of the game, when you're just using a nuker, essentially all you care about is just getting to 100% crit rate, get as much attack and crit damage as possible. That's the only thing that matters. Later on in the game, you're actually going to care about speed. And the speed target you're probably going to want to hit is over 161 speed, and that's going to allow you to move faster than the waves in the Void Tower hard. So just keep that in mind for way down in the future, because that's very late game content that eventually you're going to want good stats and hit that speed requirement, unless you're going to be bringing like a Windrex or something like that with you on the team to be able to boost that speed up. I just feel in that wave content, it's not worth it. You really want to try to hit that 161 speed target for there, because relying on another cooldown is not ideal when you have multiple waves. So just keep that in mind. So you might want to consider getting speed boots that have a lot of crit rate and crit damage on them. You know, like I don't have many options, especially in that set. Here, this is all sets. You know, I only have this. You know, this is tough to find when it comes to this, but just keep that in mind. It's rare, but when you can find it, it's really great. Then max it out, and then you would actually be able to move fast while also having the crit rate and crit damage. Ideally, you would have crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage. Attack percentage in this game is a really important stat, so make sure you don't neglect that either. A lot of these games, I mean, like just finding crit rate and crit damage alone is rare enough on a stat with speed on it. But just keep that in mind that you're going to want all of those stats on there as much as you possibly can get on this, because your nukers in this game are some of the hardest characters to gear, and they're also the ones that need the most gear to really be able to punch through these tanky teams in this game. For some reason in this game, they really make the scaling, it's a lot easier to gear a tank character, and it's a lot harder to get them out of the game unless you really min-max your nukers gear in this game. So that's how I would gear her. Now let's talk about what content she's good at. So she's right up there with Hydri for the campaign. Dungeons she could be used in, mainly it's going to be Tulpa. This is going to be the move for her, kind of like how Hydri main thing was Ashe. Tulpa is going to be what she's going to be used in. So here, let's get an example here of what team I would use for something like this. But mainly, whole point of this is just going to be, nice thing about Zidland is he doesn't use his ult unless it's on a boss, which is nice. And then we want to set this, so boss, and then on the bottom, like see these buttons down near my face? You click those and that's going to turn off the ult. People ask that question a lot, so I figure I'll answer that. But mainly, she's just a nice, reliable AoE nuker for something like this, because she resets her ult, so you could speedrun these things a lot easier, because you could rely on the fact that she's going to always have her ult up if she could kill the waves. The gear that I have on her is overkill for something like this here in this game, and you don't need all these other characters to do it. It's just an example of where Valeria would be used, and it's kind of nice that she's one of the characters that makes things fast. Kind of like a Zadlux. Nice it is to have that. It makes things go so much faster. Okay, so that will do it for this. And then now let's go into let's go to Void Tower really quick. So a really big deal there. And then if we go into the characters here, so just to fully show it, because you could be S tier attack but have a massively different attack amount. Like for example, notice how he's S tier attack but 1600 base versus only 1300 base for Light Nicholas. So there is a wide spread there. But this character has 1440. If we go to Evra here, I believe she is here. She's 1440. So it's the exact same thing. It's a completely fair comparison. There's no difference in their base stats. That the difference between a fully ascended version and the non-ascended, and then this is not even fully ascended. I should just say this is only the first ascend, which gives you the 15% attack, because you could get another 5% on the 6-star ascended version, but I'm not even close to that when it comes to Evra. So I just like to mention that, because it's actually a pretty impactful thing to put on a character that is a nuker that really relies on that attack damage. So now let's actually get into the Void Tower, and I'll kind of give you guys an idea of what a typical team would work. So normally what I would want is I would try to move my gear to make sure it's higher than 161. I don't have that in my AoE gear, but I do have it in Cursed set. So like that's why I've been having Nathalia go first. But here would be like a typical team comp for something like this. And this squad feature is really nice. You can save stuff. So this is like my Arena nuke team. I've been using this for Arena, and then also have been using this for Void Tower. And you would just take out Urion here and then put in Valeria. And in some situations, she's going to hit harder than Urion. Urion's just nice because he's just so consistent and does 160% damage with the affinity bonus to everyone. So he's kind of a no-brainer to want to just put in. Whereas Valeria is going to do, 180% damage to people that are, wood characters that hits harder. And she has the resetting. She can do another AoE, whereas Urion can only do one AoE at a time. So like, there's certain situations where these characters are better. And so just because you don't have a light legendary doesn't mean you're always going to be at a disadvantage. Most of the time, Urion is better. in my opinion. So now let's actually check the gear here. I think I need to put some stuff on Windrex. This would be a character, and if you guys are not familiar, you can hold onto the character here, and then you can get into the gearing, so you don't have to back all the way out. Kind of nice there. And so here, let me throw some boots and speed here. So there we go. And then where'd she go? There she is. And then let me see if Nathalia actually has gear on her. And you can also favorite characters. So notice how this is an epic character in the front. So she's favorited. So that's how I was able to do that. And then here would be like an example of a cursed set. Well, actually, I don't want to put her in because she's just going to go first and nuke everyone. I don't want to make her faster. So here would be an example of Valeria here in Void Tower. And what's nice about her, here I can just turn, just not even use her ult. And then right now she's going first, so I'm just going to save it. And later on in the Void Tower, you're going to need more speed. I only have 150 speed right now. Let's see if she can kill anyone here. And so luckily she kills them all because she could have got a deflection. But as long as she's killing at least one, we're good. And then now let's go defense down. Got the speed up. We can also CC them as well with her. She's great for something like this. And then now, because it's not arena, we can actually do both of our summoner spells in one round here and do a pretty good nuke. You throw another nuker or Nathalia in here and they would all be dead. And then what we'll do is just reset it. Who should we stun just in case? Let's just stun. I think they're all going to die anyway, but let's just stun him and nuke him again. Okay. And we got the bonus turn, so we'll nuke him again. So kind of a nice example of this. And then also the bonus turns you get for killing people, you get multiple. So it's kind of cool. As you can see down at the bottom, she had multiple turns down there. So I think she's great. Easily one of the best nukers in the game. One of the best choices you can make when it comes to this. All these same concepts would apply in arena too. I just need to grind more because currently I'm only at 3,200. So we can use this as an example. The issue in arena though is that you face a lot of Hackrons and Blackhorns. She's at a type disadvantage, but you do face Mythasias and she would do well against Mythasia. I just think there's better options. Like I think Evra covers a better spread in this current meta, but you know, that could potentially change because on paper, she's right up there with Evra. It's just right now the characters being used on arena defense are a lot of blue characters. So like, let's look at the top teams so you can kind of get an idea. So we got, this would be a team that I would be more than happy to use Valeria against, even though this guy in particular probably has nuts gear and I probably don't have a chance of beating him, but I wouldn't feel bad taking a Valeria into this team right here. Same with, you know, this one is a little tough because he has Lightwing Zachary. You know, he's going to potentially bonus turnout on you, and he has double blue. So this would be an example of Valeria would probably struggle against that team. This team right here is same. So just notice how much, so pretty much almost every team has Hackern in it. So you already are guaranteed to face one blue character. Then a lot of other teams have Blackhorn too. So it's just tough. For the most part, I still think she's a great character. It's just because she doesn't excel well in late game arena, it doesn't mean she's bad. The fact that she's even being mentioned in there, plus all these other places of the game, just prove, in my opinion, just how good she is. And she's definitely worth, you know, fully maxing and using a ton because the affinity advantage in this game is just too good to not have multiple nukers. Like pretty much the main ones are Nathalia, Sierra, Evra, Urion. All those characters you're going to want to Hydra even nowadays. Well, if you have Nathalia, it's kind of hard to justify. And if you really want to use your resources wisely, if you have Nathalia, especially double ascend, then you're probably just going to really use her 99% of the time. And then you might use Hydra here and there because on paper, she's probably the hardest hitting character here. She just requires setup and her type, she could have a type disadvantage here and there. So that's why these other characters are just such a big deal because 50% damage boost, if all these characters are kind of on that same level, then you have to use them. And so that's pretty much the main point I'm trying to make here. And that's why Urion is just so valuable, is because of this passive here. He's good against all affinities. So, and he has a nuke that's on the level of all these other characters. So I think I made my point here. When it comes to this, she's a great character, totally worth building. Let me know in the comments below if you like this kind of format. This is definitely a change up from the last video I did like this on Hydra. Also, feel free to check that video out. I'm going to leave a card up here for a full guide on Hydra there up at the top, a little different format. Curious to hear what you guys prefer, this longer style or that kind of quicker style where we just get right into it. So with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.